Are you tired of letting other people's opinions control how you feel about yourself? The Stoics believed that real strength comes from within, and that we each have the power to build a self-worth that no one can shake. In a world where success and worth are often measured by external achievements, fame, and wealth, many of us can feel like we're always reaching, but never arriving. But what if self-worth doesn't depend on others' approval, achievements, or recognition? What if it could come from within, from the way we live, think, and choose to be? This is where the wisdom of the Stoics, a philosophy that has endured for thousands of years, becomes invaluable. Today, we'll explore how you can cultivate self-worth by becoming your own role model, guided by Stoic teachings on internal validation, self-respect, and a life aligned with personal virtues. Self-acceptance and the power of internal validation. The journey to self-worth begins with self-acceptance. One of the most profound teachings from Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the great Stoics, is that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus was reminding himself and us not to let others' judgments or opinions paint our soul. Instead, he encouraged us to root our sense of worth in our own values and inner wisdom. Let's try a short exercise to shift our perspective inward. Take a moment to write down qualities you genuinely admire, not in society, but in the people you respect most. Qualities like resilience, honesty, kindness, patience. Now, look at each quality and ask yourself, in what ways do I already display these qualities, even in small actions? Notice how even small moments, helping a friend in need, staying calm in a stressful situation, are reflections of these values. By seeing ourselves through this lens, we begin to recognize and appreciate the good that is already within us. This exercise helps us see that our worth isn't something to chase, it's something we uncover by becoming aware of who we already are and who we have the potential to be. The freedom of letting go of comparison. One of the core principles of Stoicism is learning to live without constant comparison. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was once a slave, understood the value of internal freedom over external validation. He famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By grounding our self-worth in internal qualities, we avoid the trap of endlessly comparing ourselves to others. Comparison is, in a sense, a form of mental slavery. It binds us to standards that often aren't real and that don't serve us. Take a moment now to reflect on a time when you felt true fulfillment, an experience that was valuable for you, whether or not anyone else noticed. Write about it in detail. What qualities did you display? How did this experience reflect your values? By focusing on the moments that matter to us personally, we start to free ourselves from the need for outside validation. These moments remind us that self-worth is a path we create, not something handed to us. As you reflect, notice that it's not others' praise or recognition that made these moments fulfilling. Instead, it was your own sense of alignment with something meaningful to you. This is the essence of internal validation. Creating a personal code of virtues. For the Stoics, living with self-worth meant living with virtue. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." He recognized that wealth and status could never bring genuine self-worth. Instead, he urged us to cultivate virtues, qualities like courage, kindness, and honesty, and to measure our lives by how well we embody them, not by society's shifting standards. Let's try a powerful exercise that can serve as a compass for self-worth. Make a list of core virtues that resonate with you. It could be courage, patience, resilience, or compassion, whatever qualities you want to live by. Now, reflect on how you can embody these virtues each day. Think about specific actions. If courage is your virtue, how can you bring courage into your choices, whether it's speaking your truth or trying something new? If patience is your focus, consider how you can bring patience into your interactions with others and even with yourself. When you define your values, you create a standard for self-worth that is unshakable. This is what makes you your own role model. You're not living by anyone else's script, but by a set of virtues that resonate deeply with who you are. Practicing self-respect and building resilience. Self-respect is one of the pillars of self-worth. Often, we are our own worst critics, harsher with ourselves than we'd ever be with a friend. The Stoics teach a compassionate approach to self-evaluation. Epictetus reminded his followers, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." In other words, self-respect doesn't come from judging ourselves harshly but from living up to our values as best we can, day by day. Take a few minutes to write down some of the critical thoughts that often come up in your mind. Maybe it's "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess up." Now, examine each thought. Ask yourself, is this voice helping me grow, or is it holding me back? Consider how you would speak to a friend facing the same challenge. Replace each critical thought with a compassionate one. This isn't about ignoring growth areas, it's about creating an inner dialogue that encourages you to become better, not one that tears you down. Practicing self-respect and quieting the inner critic allows us to build resilience. With self-compassion as our foundation, we can handle setbacks without losing sight of our worth. Finding strength beyond external judgments. It's human to seek approval, but the Stoics remind us that external opinions are ultimately beyond our control. Marcus Aurelius offered a timeless insight: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This teaching invites us to root our self-worth in the things we control: our thoughts, our choices, our virtues. Try this visualization exercise. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and bring to mind a recent judgment or criticism you've encountered. Imagine that judgment as a small leaf floating in a stream. Now, let the leaf drift away, downstream, out of sight. Feel the release as you turn your focus inward, grounding yourself in your values. Practice this visualization whenever you feel weighed down by others' opinions. It's a powerful reminder that their judgments do not define you. Anna's example: Anna, a 40-year-old mother and project manager, often feels she's falling short despite her successes. Surrounded by images of others who seem to have it all, she finds herself constantly comparing, wondering if she's good enough at work, at home, and in life. One night, Anna stumbles upon Stoic philosophy and is struck by a quote from Epictetus: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This resonates as she realizes she's been placing her self-worth in the hands of others' opinions and events beyond her control. Inspired, she decides to redefine her worth based on her values, qualities like patience, integrity, and resilience. She begins a new routine, taking a few moments each day to reflect on these virtues, asking herself how she can embody them in her work, her parenting, and her friendships. At the end of each day, she checks in, focusing on progress, not perfection. Slowly, Anna feels a shift. She no longer craves external validation or strives to be perfect. Instead, she finds a deep, unshakable self-worth by living in line with her own values. By embracing Stoic principles, Anna learns to become her own role model. Her confidence now comes from within, grounded in the virtues she has chosen rather than in others' expectations. To cultivate self-worth is to honor the journey of becoming. The Stoics remind us that true self-worth doesn't waver with each new achievement or failure, each compliment or criticism. It's steady and enduring, rooted in virtues and values that can't be taken from you. Self-worth isn't a final destination, but a practice. When you commit to embodying qualities you admire, you build a life of purpose, peace, and integrity. So, take heart, because becoming your own role model is not only possible, it's the most meaningful journey you can undertake. What about you? Have you ever struggled with self-worth and self-acceptance? Share your story in the comments below. We're all here to learn from one another. And if you're looking for more practical tips on applying Stoicism to everyday life, keep following our channel. Remember, you have the power to create your personal code of virtues, starting right now.